morning, Marshall. Good morning, everyone. Please be seated. All right, for the record, we are week 3, day 11 in the Lafferty versus Jones related matters. If counsel would please identify themselves for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Chris Maddy on behalf of the plaintiffs, joined by colleagues Alan Sterling and Jeff Costa.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Morning, Judge Norm Pettis on behalf of Mr. Jones.
Good morning. Okay.
May we approach briefly?
Sure.
Good morning.
Can I run we were working on the church thing. I lost track of time. I thought we had 10 more minutes to go. If not, no, just look up.
You know what? I'll go there. No, you go. No, I don't care.
Of course.
Yeah, because we have to wait, so go quickly there. Okay. So here's the thing. I had another status conference this morning and I had other stuff to do last night. I have still not looked at that charge and I know I have to do the punitive damages, the defamation.
Yeah, Your Honor, so we spent our hour this morning talking and we have some ideas about how to make the charge shorter and also whether there are some ways that we can possibly agree. We know that there's some serious areas of disagreement, but what we think would be much more efficient is for us to use the hour that we were going to spend with the court today to talk to each other, have some time over the weekend. But what we would like is to get on the court's calendar possibly Monday afternoon. Is that possible?
Did Stevenson get booked?
I'm still waiting to hear back from my one attorney about that.
Well, I would say that's just, they're just not getting back.
I just emailed him yesterday.
All right, why don't you go get your coffee? I'll talk to Ron about it this afternoon, on Monday afternoon. Great. Can you work with what we sent you? Can you guys work off of that together?
You know what we're going to do is we've converted it to Word. So we're going to actually...
Should I not proofread mine then? 'Cause I already
Right.
found some typos. And then
Right.
it was
No,
gonna
so
work.
what we'll do is we'll share our red line and
The only
then
thing I
we'll...
could do is I'm going to be on a train Monday morning. We could just do it on a phone call.
I have argument in the state Supreme Court Monday morning.
Yeah.
All right, because I will be on a train from 10 to 12, so that doesn't.
My argument's 11 to 12. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if this other one does not get scheduled.
Wait for coffee. I can't keep on waiting for a cup of coffee.
No, you can be pretty quick.
If you, all right.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Oh,
I think he's getting the jury now. Is there something that?
we're just short one lawyer here,
Oh, okay.
but she'll be back in a minute. I just know I don't want him coming in and out. I know your rule.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll make that exception. So we don't make it.
Can you speak to Attorney Henry?
Absolutely. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. Good morning. Good morning. Please be seated. Make yourselves comfortable. Just as a reminder, please be seated. We are ending at 1 today, remember, and then we have tomorrow off, so we will pick up again on Tuesday, just as a reminder. We will take our morning recess this morning for our staff to give them a break from their hard work. All right, Mr. Parker may resume the stand. There's water in there. I know I ask you every time, but one time you're going to forget.
First thing I do when I get into this.
It's better than you. All right, please be seated. Of course, you remain under oath. Mr. Farrar, fresh water in the certainly help yourself.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Robbie.
Hey.
Robbie, when we left off yesterday, you were describing for the jury a very difficult event in which you found Alyssa in a coat closet at Emily's viewing, where she was saying, I don't think I can do this, I don't think I can do this.
That's right.
So I want you to tell the jury what it is that she couldn't do and why.
For both of us, just all that prep and trying to figure out what to do for her viewing and trying to, this was the start of this, our way in our culture of trying to remember somebody who you love that passed on and share that with everybody and trying to overcome the taint that was associated with that. Like, we couldn't just focus on just grieving our daughter. We couldn't just focus on doing a memorial service for Emily. Piled on top of that were all these concerns about our safety and what might happen. So Alyssa and I talked about our grief and how hard that was going to be. And I think everybody can understand how hard that alone would be on somebody. Alyssa's one of the strongest people that I know, and she can handle very, very hard things. So when I saw her in the closet like that, and I saw her broken, it was all that extra weight on top of her. We can control what happens at a memorial. We can plan those things. That's in something that we are capable of doing. This unknown entity that exists out there is what's frightening, and that is what felt so heavy, and that's what caused her to break.
This concern that people would infiltrate Emily's memorial who were claiming that you were actors and it was all a fraud.
Exactly.
And Emily, that was December 21st was Emily's viewing, right?
Correct.
And she was buried the next day?
Yes.
And she's buried next to her grandpa?
Yeah.
How long did you stay out in Utah before coming back to see you?
we stayed through the new year. My birthday and my middle daughter birthdays are in January, and we were there with family, and so I couldn't have cared less about my birthday that year, but for Madeline, I felt like it was important to give her an opportunity. We had lived away for so long, we wanted to be there for her birthday. So we left probably that like second full week of January.
Okay. And Alyssa described it, and you had begun describing this assault that week of the funeral of online comments and threatening and harassing behavior. Did that continue through the time when you came back to Sandy Hook?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And I think you mentioned for the jury that during those first couple of weeks, you were able to identify in these comments associations with InfoWars and Alex Jones, but you hadn't yet quite put together what that was?
No, not really. These are just flashes of information, and I hadn't been able to start to put anything together yet. I was, especially in that first week, I really, really just wanted to focus on the funeral and focus on my girls and focus on Alyssa, and so that's where my focus was.
And in January, did you start to get a better idea of who this Alex Jones was?
Yeah, some of those dots started to be connected. I remember, I believe it was on our flight back from Utah heading back here. I was on the plane, and they had these televisions on the plane now, and my television screen it wouldn't let me change the channel or anything. And it was on CNN, and I saw Alex Jones appear on Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan was at that time a evening host on one of CNN's programs.
Yeah, I wasn't very familiar with it, but yes.
And was it then that you realized that the Alex Jones that you were seeing on TV was the same Alex Jones and InfoWars that was popping up in your online?
Yeah, that was the first time. I mean, I was just sitting there and just trying to decompress from everything, and there was just something about just being there in that solitude and in that silence where that all came together for me. Like InfoWars, Alex Jones, seeing what Alex Jones was saying, seeing how he was behaving and how he was acting, and seeing that on a national scale being broadcasted out to millions of people, starting to understand the influence that he had and the following that he had. That's when all that kind of started to come together.
Do you know if you saw the video that Mr. Jones published just 3 days after the shooting in which he referred to the Sandy Hook blooper reel?
I was aware of that from posts being made on our social media accounts.
The jury has presented with one of Mr. Jones's broadcasts at the end of January called "Why People Think Sandy Hook is a Hoax." And what I'd like to do, Mr. Parker, is play clip 6D. Your Honor, this is in evidence as an InfoWars broadcast on January 27, 2013.
Actually, I'm sorry. That one is one of the new ones, and I don't know if it's actually been. That was not from the original.
It is agreed to. I thought we offered it.
This one, 6D, my understanding, has been added. I don't know if it was part of the original. Originally, there was
Oh, no,
6.
I understand what you're saying. 60 is a clip of Exhibit 6.
May I speak to Attorney Manny for one moment? No objection, Judge.
Very well.
Thank you.
It looks like he's saying, okay, do I read off the card? He's laughing, and then he goes over and starts basically breaking down and crying. So let's show that clip.
Somebody is there, and they're getting ready to come to the microphone, so we'll listen in there. Okay. My name's Robbie Parker. My family is one of the families that
I haven't touched this, okay? All I know is they're seizing on it. They staged Fast and Furious. They had a Gunners of America. I said on my own show, Larry Pratt, that if they staged Fast and Furious that killed thousands, our government, to like the Second Amendment, they'd stage anything.
Mr. Parker, what I'd now like to do is play a portion from Alex Jones's deposition given earlier this year concerning the same video.
Objection, relevance to this witness, Judge?
It's an admission of the party.
Relevance through this witness?
I'm gonna allow it.
Let's go to 47B.
It looks like he's saying, okay, I'll read off the card. He's laughing, and then he goes over and starts basically breaking down and crying. So let's show that clip.
Dr. Parker. That's what we want to say about Dr. Brown yesterday. In the city,
I haven't touched this. Okay, all I know is they're seizing on it. They staged Fast and Furious. They had a Gunners of America.
Now, you have touched it, right? Because you put it in slow-mo, right?
Are you saying we doctored this to say?
I'm saying that the footage that you just showed had been put into slow-mo, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Parker, did you see Mr. Jones smirk when he was watching you come up to give your statement?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Are you aware, Mr. Parker, that you're not the only parent who Mr. Jones referred to as an actor?
Correct.
Let's play additional testimony from Mr. Jones concerning that same video.
No objection, Judge.
All right, Mr. Jones, I want to bring up exhibit number 47. Do you recall publishing a video in January of 2013 in which you reported to your audience on the Sandy Hook shooting?
No, I don't recall.
Okay, so for the record, we're going to be playing 47A.
People who've been coached, people who've been given cue cards, people who are behaving like actors.
You refer to people who have been coached, right?
Yes.
Who are you referring to?
People like Parker and others.
You know you were talking about Mr. Parker as being one of the people who was coached, right?
Yes, I think that's who we're alluding to.
And you're referring to people who have been given cue cards, right? And are you referring to Mr. Parker there?
Yes.
And
others.
And people who are behaving like actors, right? And there you're talking about Mr. Parker, correct?
Yes.
And do you recall who else you believed was behaving like an actor?
I mean, there are a lot of people.
In terms of individuals, okay? You said people who are behaving like actors. You're referring to Robbie Parker, number one, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're referring to other people as well, correct?
Yes.
In 2013, Robbie, can you describe for the jury what your mindset was and how to deal with all of the threats and harassment that were being directed towards you and your family?
I mean, I've been taught that, you don't engage with a bully. If somebody's bullying you, you ignore them, and eventually they get tired and they leave you alone. And that had worked for me in my life. And so that was kind of how I approached this. We just need to just just weather this storm. And they're mad and they're upset and all this is going on. This is a big news story right now, but it's gonna die down and it's gonna go away. I remember a conversation that I had with my friend Brad, who had been managing the Facebook page, and he was begging me to, like, we need to do something, we need to say something, we need to post something, or we need to combat what they're saying. And my response to him at the time was, you know, these are just people who are taking a break from looking for Bigfoot. After a few weeks, they're going to leave us alone and they're going to go back trying to find Bigfoot. Like, we're not going to say anything. And so on the Facebook page, how we were handling, because it was so inundated. It was so inundated, and people were messaging, like the administrator saying, aren't you guys going to do anything about this? And we had 8 people that we had allowed to be administrators on the page who just spent as much free time as they could report, ban, delete, report, ban, delete, report, ban, delete, trying to get rid of this stuff, just to try and get it far enough down on the page so that if anybody came to the page, the first thing they would see would be something about Emily and not all of this filth. And then by the middle of January, I finally just turned the page off. I couldn't I felt like I couldn't protect Emily's name or her memory anymore. So I had to get rid of it.
Throughout 2013, after you turned that page off, were people still able to reach you?
They were able to, yeah, in a number of ways, whether it be by phone or by email or by letters to my house or through my own personal Facebook account.
What steps did you take to try and ensure that your daughters, Madeline and Samantha and Alyssa, and you were safe?
I mean, the first thing, I didn't even know about privacy settings and stuff like that, and I didn't realize that I had, left myself that exposed on social media, and Facebook was the only social media account I had. So I changed my privacy settings, and I didn't realize that they could still get a hold of me or try and contact me through other ways on social media. As far as my girls, all I could do was pray for them and pray for our family. I didn't want them to ever be exposed to this, and I didn't want them to know what was going on. As far as me and Alyssa, I shared with Alyssa what I felt like I could, or what I felt like she had told me that she could handle. She made it clear that she wanted to know about stuff, but not too much details. There was a contact with the FBI. Her name was Ashley Hall. We had been introduced to her at one of the meetings that we had had, and so I would forward stuff to law enforcement. And the other thing would just be try to report this stuff. I would report it to Facebook. I would report things to YouTube. I was pleading for their help.
Did there come a point, Robbie, where you felt like in order to protect your family, you had to move from Newtown?
Eventually, yeah. And that was, it's not as easy as a decision as some people might think. We had this family here of people who knew exactly what we were experiencing, meaning the other victims' families. And I didn't know if I could move anywhere in the country and find that kind of a support system. But I was so ashamed in my belief that I had brought this on everybody, because I was the first person that said something. I was the person that laughed. I was the person who was being targeted. And by that, as we see, it went to everybody. I became they, and we all became they. The they that he talks about. That was all of us. And
you felt responsible for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you still feel responsible for that?
On a really deep emotional level, I do. Logically, I know that that's not true, but I can't help but feel that. still. So my relationship with this family of ours, in my mind, was deteriorating, and I didn't know how to be around them. I just assumed the worst. And eventually we started looking at places to move because I just wanted to get some anonymity. My girls were young enough at the time that I felt like we could move and we can find a place where this doesn't happen to us anymore. And I want to give them as normal as an experience as they can, where the hardest thing that they have to deal with is just trying to remember who their sister was. That's all I wanted. I wanted some anonymity, and I wanted to get away, and I wanted to provide something that I felt like I wasn't able to do here.
So as a result of all that, did you and your family pick up, sell your house, buy a new house, go through a move in order to get away?
Exactly.
Where'd you move to?
We went back to the Pacific Northwest. That's where I had gone to school. It was sweet because that's where our family was whole at one point. Emily lived there. Samantha was born there. And so finding a job in that same region was really meaningful and felt like something that could connect us in our entire family somehow.
And you had to find a job too, right?
Yeah.
Were there jobs that you didn't pursue because you were concerned about what people would find if they Googled you in connection with the hoax?
That's what kept me from looking for jobs for a long time. There were other opportunities that would come up. People would that knew about my background would. I remember getting an email from a man who he had been given a grant of some hundreds of millions of dollars, and they were studying effects of childhood trauma, effects of childhood grief, and he asked me to be, if I wanted to be a part of that. And that's right up my alley, and that would have been something I would have loved to have explored. But I was worried about what I would bring to that organization if I showed up. I didn't want my association to taint something that I thought was really special.
Meaning that this effort to study childhood trauma would also be targeted by people who believe these lies about you.
Yeah, because I had been seeing it. I'd been seeing it in the foundations that other families had set up. I had been seeing the things that they were experiencing. I was seeing with Alyssa and Michelle, and they're trying to get Safe and Sound started, and what we were doing with the Emily Parker Art Connection. I didn't want to bring that to anybody else.
When did you move?
My resignation date was December 31st, 2013. So just a little over a year after the shooting.
We play Exhibit 15A, please. Your Honor, this is in evidence as broadcast the Alex Jones show called Sandy Hook, False Narratives versus Reality, published March 14th, 2014.
I mean, folks, we've got video of Anderson Cooper with clear blue screen out there. He's not there in the town square. We've got people clearly coming up and laughing and then doing the fake crying. We've clearly got people where it's actors playing different parts of different people.
Mr. Parker, this is March of 2014.
Yeah.
After you moved in early 2014, were you able to find the anonymity for your family that you wanted?
No, that did not. That did not go according to plan.
Tell the jury what happened.
Just on a personal side note, Alyssa couldn't remember our anniversary yesterday. It was March 14th. So this was on our anniversary. Okay, so we get to Washington State, and we start renting in a town to just kind of get to know the area before we bought a house. Within a couple months, we buy a house, and we're right back into the grind. I'm I'm working, I'm coming home, we're renovating this place, I'm doing all the demo work, and so by day I'm swinging a sledgehammer, and by night I'm working on like 2-pound babies, and all of that was very cathartic in a sense of just kind of just getting what we were looking for. We had some property, we got the girls chickens that they could take care of as part of like their just needing to love on something, and it was a therapy for them. I'm at work one night and I was in this routine at that point of periodically just scanning the internet to see what was out there, to see what new thing was coming up. We weren't even halfway through the remodel on this new house, and I see this video on YouTube of all of the county documents about the sale of our house, how much it cost, the address, and the person going through all of that and basically following our steps and the steps of this house and everything. And so immediately that sense of security that I thought that we had was totally shattered.
They found you.
Absolutely.
Did you tell Alyssa about that?
Yeah, I came home the next morning from work and just let her know about what I found. I didn't show it to her though.
After learning that your family had been found in Washington, did you see Alyssa deteriorate in her ability to just carry on?
That's right.
Did you do your best to take care of her and the family even as that was happening?
Of course I did. Just our approach, it was like anything, no matter what we did, if we try to do something good in the world and we wanted to try and like let the world know like, hey, we have this thing that we want to promote about school safety. We have this thing that we want to promote about Emily's love of art and how we can bring hope and healing to some other kids. Anytime that we did anything, just like that video of me smiling was just totally defiled as soon as we did it.
I'd bring up Exhibit 17. Your Honor, this is in evidence as a broadcast, the Alex Jones show titled Bombshell. Sandy Hook Massacre was a DHS illusion, published May 13th, 2014.
Same objection, Judge.
People can see your 16 questions at sandyhookjustice.com, and we just salute your will to go up there and have 8 police cars block you to United Way and have them shut you down at the school board, at the commission. But bottom line, what do you as a almost 40-year investigator, police officer, you name it, what do you think's happening here?
Well, until they answer those questions, I can tell you children did not die. Teachers did not die on December 14th, 2012. It just could not have happened. And it's in their words. It's not what Wolfgang thinks, or it's just my opinion. It's what they say. I mean, their own words actually show that it could not have happened.
Mr. Parker, after Wolfgang Halbig said children did not die, teachers did not die, what video did Mr. Jones pull up for the world to see?
Me smiling again.
This gentleman, Wolfgang Halbig, you're familiar with him, yes?
Very familiar with Wolfgang, yeah.
Has he contacted you and Alyssa throughout the years?
Numerous times.
Did you receive voicemails from Wolfgang Halbig throughout the years?
Emails, lots and lots of emails, and voicemails.
Did you receive a voicemail from Wolfgang Halbig on November 7th, 2019?
That's right. Can I pause you for a second? Because this time around March of 2014, when these videos were coming out, that's that correlates to this transition for us, and that correlates to them finding us. Alyssa at this time when that sense of security got shattered and all this work and effort that we put into, again, she was fantastic, and we were moving, and she was doing everything she could to set things up for our girls, and we scoured what school we wanted to go to, and Alyssa went and met with school administrators, and she was doing everything she could to provide that sense of security for our family, and I was doing everything I felt like I could. And when these videos came out and we had another wave of onslaught, another wave of assault, another wave of more and more and more attacks, and then people finding out where we lived, she absolutely broke. And again, there's nobody in my life, and there's nobody I've ever known that's stronger than Alyssa. And she just couldn't, it's a very vague term, she couldn't do it anymore. And what that meant was she couldn't make phone calls to set up appointments for the girls anymore. She couldn't communicate with people.
She shut down.
She absolutely shut down. She couldn't respond to emails. She contacted Michelle Gay and told her that she wanted to step down from Safe and Sound. She wanted
Josephine's mom.
Correct. The co-founder of Safe and Sound Schools. She said, I want to step away. I don't want to do this anymore. And Michelle was very understanding, but also said, I'm not going to let you step away, but you take as much time as you need. Alyssa, we had split up our responsibilities in the house. I do this, she does that. She asked me to take over all those things. She had missed, she was in charge of paying the bills, and she had missed a couple payments, and so she just asked me to take that over. So I was doing a lot of shopping, and I was doing a lot of that kind of work on top of the other things that I was doing.
Just the way your house ran, just the way your house ran had to change.
Exactly.
I can have 1 second, Mr. Parker. I want to play another clip from that same video we just watched, May 13th, 2014, Suite 17F. Have it?
You got parents laughing, like, watch this, and then going, method acting, like, I mean, it's just ridiculous. You got coroners that start laughing, and I don't mean uncomfortably. I mean laughing with the state police when they're giving press conferences. I mean, it just is the fakest thing since the $3 bill. And you better get ready for more of it, folks. Now let's go to his 3 minutes to the school board there in Connecticut.
My name is Wolfgang Halliday.
Is that what you did, Mr. Parker? The fake crying, the method acting?
No.
I want to go to 19I. This is a few months later. Your Honor, this is in evidence. As a broadcast of the Alex Jones Show, titled FBI Says Nobody Killed at Sandy Hook. September 25th, 2014.
It's as funny as a $3 bill, and they've been. But man, Wolfgang, you dropped a bombshell of your scores of points, your 16 questions. If you've got a school of 100 kids and then nobody can find them, and then you've got parents laughing on, and then they walk over to the camera and go, and not just one, but a bunch of parents doing this, and then photos of kids that are still alive, they said died. I mean, they think we're so dumb that it's really hidden in plain view.
That was September 2014. Mr. Mr. Parker, your family still deluged with the threats and harassment as these broadcasts are being played?
They would come in these waves, and it was almost like I knew when Alex Jones said something because we would get a huge wave of stuff. And so that's when I knew something was up, and that's when I knew I needed to step up my game, so to speak, as far as being vigilant about what's going on, being vigilant about our surroundings, being vigilant about what's being said.
So when you would feel these, kind of increases, what I hear you saying is that you then realize that you needed to try and stay on top of what was happening in order to protect your family?
Correct.
And you do that by searching online for what was being said?
As much as I could tolerate, I really started to hate that video.
That video, you mean the video of yourself?
Even if I went onto YouTube to look up something funny that my girls wanted me to watch, on the suggestion side there would always be all the Sandy Hook stuff because of things that I would search. And I would see my face on there with that screenshot of me smiling all the time. And I just hated it, and I hated seeing myself. And so when I would go online and look and try and do this vigilance, I had to face that all the time.
Let me show you Exhibit 20A. This is an evidence, Your Honor, as a broadcast of the Alex Jones Show on December 27th, 2014.
When I just saw the heavy scripting, that was what was so clear. And then the parents laughing, and then 1 second later doing the actor breathing to cry. I mean, it's just over the top.
Agreed. Yep.
Over the top sick. And we know they've staged other stuff before.
I want to take you to a broadcast of the Alex Jones Show on February 12th, 2015. 2015 now. This is in as Exhibit 24. We'll be playing 24F.
Stinks to high heaven. You got the actor father who comes out, gets into character. I was a theater major. I worked with actors. I used to watch them get ready before they would go out and cry like that. I remember
a degree in theater.
I was in the play Our Town, and I'm sitting there watching these other people about to go out and do the funeral scene, and they're pumping themselves up, doing exactly what he did.
First he's laughing and smiling, and then
he walks out, and then he's totally sad, crying. He was cracking jokes right before. That's an actor. That's an actor.
You recognize that gentleman calling you an actor as the gentleman we saw yesterday who said that they had played the video of your statement immediately after you gave it?
Yeah, that was really hard to hear yesterday. I knew I was a target of theirs. Before he said that, I didn't understand how concise of a target and how deliberate they were about it.
How immediately, in Rob Dew's words, they put it out.
Exactly.
Let's go to, now, Robbie, the harassment and the threats that your family have suffered through haven't just been online, have they?
No.
You've been confronted in public.
Yes.
Why don't you tell the jury about what happened in 2016?
We, through the art connection, Emily Parker Art Connection that we started, I found this other nonprofit group in Seattle, Washington. They're called Art with Heart. And it was an amazing organization that they had developed this curriculum of art therapy workbooks and stuff. And so I contacted them and let them know who we were and wanted to see if we could collaborate, and donated some money to their organization. They sent us some of their books, which we immediately gave to the girls, and the girls just ate it up and they loved it. And it was so fun to work through that stuff with the girls. And this was a great group. And so we contacted them in late 2015 and developed this relationship. And then in 2016 in the fall, they were having their fundraising, like luncheon or whatever it is that you do in the nonprofit world.
This is the fall of 2016.
Correct. So they invited us to come, and they wanted us to be a part of it. And they were like, it'll be fun. You guys can come to the hotel where we're doing this. The girls can swim in the swimming pool. They invited like Alyssa and I to just participate in some of the festivities and just kind of just let people in that area know how wonderful this organization was and how much we supported them. So we were really looking forward to this weekend, and we drive up to Seattle. I drop Alyssa and the girls off at the hotel. In Seattle being Seattle, I had to park my car like somewhere else. And so I went and found a parking garage a couple blocks away and started walking back to the hotel. We're like almost 4 years removed from Sandy Hook and 3,000 miles away from Sandy Hook. And I was really excited to do this. And I'm walking down this random street in Seattle, and this guy walking the other direction kind of gives me one of those looks like, you look familiar. And so this hasn't happened to me for a long time, as far as somebody recognizing me in person. So I pause and I look at him, and he asks me, he's like, didn't you have a daughter that was killed? And I said, yeah, my daughter Emily, she was a student at Sandy Hook Elementary School. And generally in these encounters, as awkward as they are, the person usually wants to give you a hug and express their condolences and all of that. And so I reached my hand out to shake his hand. And he looked down at my hand, and he just stared at me. I'm sorry, Judge, for what I need to say here.
Take your time, and it's fine.
And he was looking at me, and he said, how do you fucking sleep at night, you fucking piece of shit? And I just kind of was really taken back by that, and I stared at him. And he had so much venom and so much hatred for who he thought that I was. How much fucking money did you get from the fucking government, you fucking asshole? By this point, I could see the hotel. I was right across the street from the hotel where the girls were at, and I was walking in that direction. And so I turned around and I just started walking away. And I wanted to get as far away from my family as I could. And this guy just kept following me, and he was just in my ear the whole way. Just, Emily's alive, isn't she? She's alive, huh? Son of a bitch, she's alive. And I just kept walking, and I just kept walking. And people are staring at us, and he won't shut up. And he just keeps going, and he keeps going. And I'm just trying to hold it in. And for years I've been dealing with this. And everybody was online, or everybody was in the comfort of their studio in some other state. And I never had a chance to tell anybody how I felt or what I thought. I retreated every single time something happened to us. They found us, so we need to stay hidden. We need to put another layer of camouflage on us. Nobody can know where we are. And I just retreated and retreated. And now this guy was in my face, and he wouldn't leave me alone. And he said Emily's name one more time. And I turned around and I looked at him. And just, I'm paraphrasing at this point, but like, just how dare you? You're talking about my daughter. She was killed. Who do you think you are? How do you sleep at night? I use some colorful language as well. I'm not trying to say that I held it all together, but we went at it and we were yelling at each other, and that circle of people around us got wider and wider. And then finally I just said, I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you anything. And I turned around and I walked off. And I just kept looking over my shoulder to make sure he wasn't following me. And he went the other direction. And I spent 20 minutes circling the block, making sure that nobody else saw, nobody else was following me, that nobody else was tipped off as to who I was or where I was going. Alyssa was texting me, "Where are you? Can you stop by the van? Remember to get the girls' goggles." And I just kept walking and walking, and I needed to cool down because I had to put on that front again. I had to get back to my girls and my family, and I had to be okay. I had built this wall up of, I wanted to protect them so bad, and I knew that was really kind of impossible, but I had to put that front up, and I had to make them feel like they were safe. And so I had to get myself back there before I could go back to the hotel.
When you were able to settle yourself, you shared that story with Alyssa.
I got to the hotel. She had texted me what room they were in. I went up, and so I had to knock on the door because I didn't have a key. And Alyssa opened the door, and I thought I was there. I thought I was composed. And I just wanted to tell her, this guy just recognized me and gave me a hard time. She opened the door, and she took one look at me, and her face went white. And she just said, "What happened? What happened to you?" And she could see it in me. And I just started bawling, and the girls were on the bed watching a show, and I just darted into the bathroom. And she came in and shut the door, and I sat down on the toilet seat, and she just put her hands on my face. And it was just like, "Tell me what happened. What happened?"
And this was in fall of 2016.
Correct.
Why don't we play Exhibit 35C, which is in evidence, Your Honor, as a broadcast of the Alex Jones Show on November 18th, 2016.
I mean, he's a worse actor than Glenn Beck with Glenn Beck's fake crime. Okay? I mean, this is disgusting.
Okay.
So my name's Robbie Parker.
Did you hear Mr. Jones say this is disgusting?
I hadn't seen that video before, but that's what he said.
Let's go to 35D, Your Honor. This is from the same broadcast on November 18th, 2016.
Then we see footage of one of the reported fathers of the victims, Robbie Parker, doing classic acting training where he's laughing and joking, and they say, "Hey, we're live." And he goes, "Oh." And maybe that's real. I'm sure it is.
And they're getting ready to come to the microphone, so we'll listen to her. Okay.
Did there come a point, Robbie, where you decided that the approach you had taken all these years of trying to ignore it, trying to keep your head down, trying to be anonymous wasn't working? Or I should say, did you decide to do something else?
There were some steps that had to happen for me to get there, but yes.
And when you did get there, what was it that prompted you to decide that you needed to do something else?
The first thing was that we've been going on 6 years now, and my thought of they'll go away eventually just wasn't coming to pass. Madeline and Samantha were getting older at this point. They were getting Chromebooks at their school. They knew of these things peripherally, but I felt like I'd focused on trying to protect Emily, and they knew that. And if they were to come across this stuff, I don't know if they would have known that I was doing anything to protect them. I already felt like I failed Emily as a dad when she was alive. Because we sent her to school. And I was especially starting to feel like I was failing her in her death because of what people were saying about her and what they were saying about me trying to remember her. In 2018, there was the shooting at Parkland High School. Shortly after that, we were contacted by somebody that shares our same faith, that Alyssa and I knew. He had lived in Washington. He had since moved to Florida, and he knew the family of one of the victims in Parkland. And he asked if we would be willing to talk with them. So it was open-ended invitation at any time they wanted to talk to us, whenever they felt comfortable. In a few months, the Parkland shooting was in February. This probably would have been early summer. I remember the girls were still in school, so I'm thinking it was like in June. We had a conversation with this family. They were expressing their grief and how hard it was for them, and they were expressing the trauma that they were feeling from what happened to their daughter. And I could see ourselves in them. They were just reiterating so many of the same things, and it helped me remember what it was like to be in their shoes, what it was like 6 years earlier to feel what they were feeling. And I just remember how empty that is, and how you have no energy, and you don't want to make any decision. You just want time to grieve. It's really, really sacred. Grief should be sacred. Grief should be something that transforms you as a person and ultimately make you better. You see the world completely differently. And I saw them there. And as they were describing that, I was so happy for them because that's what they were getting to experience. And then the father started talking about stuff that was being said online about them. And the mother said, "This is really horrible." He had given an interview to somebody on the news, and the next day people were posting stuff about him. And they were calling this a fake event, a false flag event. And they kept showing videos of my husband, and she goes, "I don't think you guys had to deal with that, but this is really hard for us." And it was almost like one of those like dark humor laughs where it's like I chuckle like, "No, I know exactly what you're talking about."
Let me stop you right there, Robbie. Do you know what Alex Jones said about the Parkland shooting?
From things that I saw, it was a lot of the same playbook.
Well, why don't we pull up page 89 and 90 from the deposition that Alex Jones gave in this case on April 5th, 2022. Question, you did say it with respect to the Florida shooting, that at least some of the high school students were crisis actors. You did say that, right? Answer, no. What I said was that they were in the acting club. Question, Mr. Jones, is it your testimony that you never called any of the students who went to Parkland crisis actors? Answer, I believe that is the term I used. He called you an actor too, didn't he?
Yes, this is the same. I say it's the same playbook. He's doing it. He's doing it again.
And so after you had that conversation with those parents who lost a child at Parkland, is that when you finally decided to see if there was something you could do?
That conversation was a big catalyst for me in the sense that, like I said, I was seeing so many things about my own life through them. And when we got to this point of them starting to talk about the harassment that they were receiving and how much it bothered them, it broke open this gate that I had kept everything behind. And like all of my emotions of all the stuff that I had been protecting my family from, I finally let myself feel it fully. And because of them sharing what they felt, I finally tasted really just how atrocious it was and just how bitter it is to have to deal with this when all you want to do is grieve. And I saw them and I'm like, they don't have the energy to deal with this, and nor should they have to deal with this. I'm 6 years down the road. I know more about this than they do. I have more perspective than they do. There's something I can do for them. I can fight this. I can stand up. And I don't need to be quiet anymore. And I can say something and I can fight this.
Robbie, is that why you've been looking forward to being here in this courtroom?
Exactly.
You recall Ian Hockley's testimony? How somebody had left just when he was out shopping, had left a card on his windshield.
I was here for that, yeah.
Had you ever heard that before?
No, he had never shared that with me.
Let's pull up Exhibit 473, which is in evidence. That's a little still screen from the video that Mr. Jones played over and over, right?
That's right.
Left on a car 3,000 miles away from where you lived on the windshield of another parent who lost their child in Sandy Hook.
That's right.
And even as this trial has been happening, are you aware whether Mr. Jones has continued to ridicule you from Texas?
I've been made aware of that. There's been people telling me about that.
You were aware of a video that he published just earlier this week entitled Abomination of Justice, referring to what's happening in this courtroom?
Yeah, I saw that video.
Which Mr. Jones published to his audience that...
Objection, leading judge.
Sustained.
Did Mr. Jones publish to his audience a video in which he showed you sitting here in the courtroom and described you as shaking with fear in the presence of Alex Jones?
Yes, that's what I saw.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
No questions, Judge.
You may step down, so just watch your step. Take your time.
Your Honor, what we'd like to do now is play the video deposition testimony of Rob Dew.
All right, you'll recall my earlier instructions about video deposition testimony, and the same rules apply. To the extent there are any objections stated, you'll ignore the objection and you may listen to the response.
Your Honor, may I ask, we've conferred and we have actually an agreed upon instruction regarding deposition testimony generally, which I think might be appropriate to give since they're hearing more of it.
Yeah, that is correct. We have.
May I approach?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, so you may have noticed that some of the videotaped depositions have been cut down from their full length, and you may wonder why that is. Depositions are often many hours long. In addition, what is covered in a deposition may duplicate evidence that you've already heard through live witnesses or through another deposition. Therefore, the parties may edit the video playback of a deposition to shorten it. You should draw no inferences for or against either party based on the fact that short segments of a deposition are played rather than the whole deposition. Ron, give that back to Attorney Maddie.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Dew, will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Dew, my name is Chris Maddie, and I represent the plaintiffs in a lawsuit brought against Free Speech Systems, Alex Jones, and others here in Connecticut on behalf of families who lost loved ones at Sandy Hook and one first responder to Sandy Hook Elementary School on the day of the shooting. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
You have been with Alex Jones since 2009, and a large part of your job involved covering the news of the day, correct?
Correct.
Fair to say you were among the most senior employees at Free Speech Systems?
Yes.
You reported directly to Alex Jones, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You were one of the employees with the most authority within Free Speech Systems other than Alex Jones. Would you say that's fair?
Authority, yeah.
Okay. And you were in daily contact with Mr. Jones really throughout most of your employment at Free Speech Systems, correct?
Correct.
And then you also flew up to Connecticut for Mr. Jones's deposition here, correct?
Correct.
And on this particular occasion, when he flew up for his deposition, you and Mr. Jones flew up in a private jet, correct?
That is correct.
And you didn't pay for your travel, lodging, or food during that trip, correct?
Correct.
All right. I want to ask you some questions about Dan Badandi. You know Dan Badandi, correct?
I do.
He was hired by Free Speech Systems in 2012, right?
Correct.
And after reviewing this footage and seeing Mr. Badandi's conduct and the conduct of the individuals with him, you brought him on for an interview, correct?
Yes.
All right. And then not only that, you then sent him back up to Connecticut the next month in July with Mr. Halvik again, correct?
Is there video footage of that too?
Showing you exhibit 37. Do you see here a video, an email exchange you have with Mr. Badandi? And I'll scroll to the bottom so we can see it. Where Mr. Badandi is asking you whether he can do a man on the street tomorrow. And you tell him the man on the street will be old by the time we can air it. Go to Sandy Hook. We will cover that. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so as of July 7th, you're still instructing Mr. Badani to go to Connecticut on InfoWars' behalf, correct?
Yes.
Showing you Exhibit 39. Here, the next day, you see you're sending another email to Mr. Badani. This is July 8th, 2015, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you are giving him direct access to the Alex Jones live channel to live stream his footage from the Freedom of Information Commission hearing, correct?
Yes.
You were giving Mr. Badani access to InfoWars' largest Ustream channel, correct?
Correct.
So that he could live stream his coverage of the Howbig Newtown hearing, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Zhu, do you recall that toward the end of 2013, the state's attorney responsible for investigating the Sandy Hook shooting released his investigation report?
In 2013?
Correct.
I don't know if I recall that or not. If that was...
I'm going to show you the email that I will mark as Exhibit 61. You see here, on November 26, 2013, that you are a recipient of an email from changescourses at AOL.com. Subject is check out Sandy Hook final report. And there appears to be a link to the final report in the email.
I see that.
Okay. Did you read that report when it came out?
I don't remember reading that report when it came out. I mean, I get a lot of emails.
And in November of 2013, the state's attorney responsible for investigating the circumstances of that shooting released his report. And we just saw an email in which you were sent a copy, correct?
Okay, yeah.
And your testimony is that you didn't read it?
I don't know if I read it when that guy sent it to me. I might have read it later. I don't know.
Did you read it at all? As you sit here today, you have no recollection of having read the state's attorney's report of his investigation on the circumstances surrounding the Sandy Hook shooting, correct?
Correct.
Don't you think that that would have been a source of information that you would have wanted to consult if you were interested in the facts and circumstances surrounding the shooting?
Objection.
I don't know what I was thinking at the time.
That concludes Mr. Zhu's testimony. I think if it's all right with the court, maybe we could take our morning break.
I think that's a good idea. So we will take a 15-minute morning recess. Ron will be in charge of your notepads, and we will see you shortly. seated. Attorney Amanda, do you see what I circled on that? On the instructions?
Yes, thank you. You caught it, thank you.
Well, I know you wanted me to read it, but I didn't think you wanted me.
Was it this? We just had the wrong word in there.
Wasn't sure. Okay, ready for the jury?